As we prepare to release the support for templates for Logic App Standard, we are excited to share the UI wireframes with you. We want to use this as an opportunity to seek your feedback early and to help us refine and perfect this new feature. For more context on this feature, please visit the link aka.ms Logic Apps Templates to get more context on this feature as well as some of the capabilities that are in the roadmap. On this page, you'll also find a link to participate in a survey and one on one session with the product group to provide more directed feedback on the experience or any other gaps that you find. Let's jump into the experience. This is a standard logic app. The entry point to the templates is via our templates library. We do plan to have additional entry points, for example, after the workflow create as well. What you see here is the gallery of templates. The tiles include the title of the templates, the publisher, the type, for example, it's a single workflow or multiple workflow template. The type of the trigger, which could be a request trigger, event based trigger, a schedule based trigger, and so on. The tile also gives you information about the connectors that are being used in this template. For templates which use more than three connectors, you can see the connectors used by the template in the gallery itself. The template library is organized such that you can see all the templates in one place or filter them by single workflow templates. More advanced templates which span across multiple workflows or templates published by organizations to be shared only within the scope of their organization. Within each category, there are multiple drop downs available to further filter the collection of the templates. You can filter by connectors or the type of solutions, the type of industry, use cases, triggers, and state of the workflow. You can also do a free-form text search and type in the name of the connector as an example and filter the templates based on the name of the connectors. Or you can do a free-form text search and see the results. When you click on a tile, it opens a side panel which gives you a workflow preview. On this page, you can see a short description that explains what the template does. You also have a read only view of the workflow, which shows you step by step what is happening in the workflow. The Overview tab gives you additional details. It shows you the list of all the connectors that are used in this workflow and for which of those connectors you already have the connections and for the ones you do not have the connection. There is a section about prerequisites which lists all the steps you may need to take before you can successfully use this template. For example, this template uses SAP connector. Customers need to bring in the SAP NCO libraries and upload them to the application. This is a prerequisite before you can use this template. The details section gives you more details about this workflow. For example, the publisher, some stats on the number of users of this template, and so on. Details also includes other changes that may happen as part of using this template. For example, this template converts data from Salesforce to SAP, and for this it uses a map. The map is included in the template, and when you use this template, the map is uploaded to the artifacts folder. All of that information is provided in the details section. With this information, you should be able to make a decision whether you want to go ahead with this template or not. If you choose to go ahead with the template, click on create a workflow with this template. This opens a wizard which takes you through all the steps that are required to configure the template before it's actually created. The first step is to configure the connections. Here you can see the connections that are already configured, and the ones which are not configured, you can go through the steps to create the connection to that service. Since this is a Teams connector, it takes us to the OAuth flow for that connector. Now we have all the connections configured for this template. The next step is to provide more details about this workflow. For example, the name of the workflow, the type of the workflow. We have completed all the steps required to configure this workflow. This step summarizes all the configuration we did in the previous steps. If you want to make any changes, you can click on previous and make updates if needed. We are ready to create the workflow, so let's go ahead and select create. This creates the workflow that we just selected and configured. Once the workflow is created, then it opens up in the designer. Now you're ready to use this workflow. The workflow is opened in designer, which means that if needed, you have full flexibility and control to make any changes to this workflow and save them. We are back to the templates library. Let's take a look at another example. Let's select another template. This template creates an ingestion workflow based on RAG pattern to create generative AI applications. As you can see the tile, it uses OpenAI AI search connector and uses SQL as the data store. On clicking the tile, it opens the workflow preview as well as the overview tabs. Using preview, you can make a determination whether this meets your needs. The Overview tab gives details on the connections, prerequisites, and other specifics for this template. For this template as well, there are prerequisites such as configuration of the OpenAI and AI search services. The connection tab indicates that I do not have the connection for OpenAI service. Let's create connect here and provide the connection name, authentication type, endpoint URL, and the authentication key. With all this information, we are now able to create the connection for the service. This template also has an additional tab for parameters. The first one is the deployment identifier for the OpenAI model. The second parameter is the AI search index. Provide the name of the workflow and the type of the workflow. We are ready to create the workflow. The workflow is now successfully created and is opened in the designer. We would love to hear from you. If you have any feedback on this experience, if you see any key capabilities that are missing here, please do reach out to us and let us know. Thank you.